Cielo Vista Walmart shooting. Governor Greg Abbott told state lawmakers Thursday Texas students will be returning to public classroom in person. Texas Education Commissioner Mike Morath said families with health concerns can opt to have their children continue to learn remotely. A spokesman for the Texas Education Agency, Frank Ward, was quoted as saying schools will not need to require students to wear face masks or be tested for COVID-19 when they return to school tonight. We'll ask superintendents from EPISD, SISD, and YISD just how different this school year will be this fall. Understandably, the governor's decision has people torn on both sides of the issue, with schools opening in a month and a half. Some parents and local health officials are wondering if this decision is too soon, given that coronavirus cases in El Paso are increasing. We began tonight with a parent's point of view, one of them an infectious disease expert who has been on frequent guests on ABC-7 Extra.
As a parent of two kids, one that's going into high school and one that's finishing up elementary school in this coming school year, and I'm concerned just like any other parent.
Mayor Dee Margo and County Judge Ricardo Samaniego took preventative measures to try to reduce the spread of COVID-19 months ago. They issued the stay-at-home order in late March.
We're kind of all in this together, and if we together stop and suppress this virus, that the sooner we'll get back to normal and moving ahead. I can assure you that neither the judge nor I take this decision lightly.
That was months before the school year was scheduled to end, giving students an extended spring break. But as Governor Greg Abbott, and by extension the mayor and county judge, lifted the stay-at-home order, businesses began opening back up. The latest directive, issued Thursday, calls for people to wear face coverings inside all businesses that are open. Now school districts are planning the return to class under much different conditions than when classes resumed last school year.
Not only as a parent, but also as a nurse, I am actually very comfortable with them going back to school. I think they should go back to school.
Ask the school district what's their plan. Any school that's opening up and is just saying we don't have a plan, I'm not sure that's really where I would be sending my kids today. And so what's the plan? Are they staggering? Are they sending everybody back at the same time? Are they going to have a rapid succession school year, right? Where they're trying to get the kids out before October and November when flu season starts to kick up?
Here to answer that very question is Socorro Independent School District Superintendent Dr. Jose Espinosa. With us is also El Paso Independent School District Superintendent Juan Cabrera and Isleta Independent School District Superintendent Dr. Xavier de la Torre. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. I'll start with you, Dr. Espinosa. What measures, when will classes resume, and what measures are you all taking?
Well, you know, it's a $1 million question there, and you know, one of the things that I can assure our parents is that we want to make sure that when we open up the school year, you know, we open up safely. So there's much going on in our school district. You know, we're constantly researching with what health experts locally as well as around the country are saying about what we can do to keep our schools safe. You know, we've purchased a lot of protective equipment for our maintenance department, so that they can effectively and sanitize and frequently sanitize, you know, touched areas in our schools, as well as sanitize the air in our schools. We've also purchased face coverings, gloves, sanitizing wipes, the list goes on. You know, health experts, as you know, have emphasized that the best ways to prevent the spread of the virus is by doing two specific things. Number one is wearing a face covering and also staying at least six feet apart from each other. And that's exactly what we plan to do here in Socorro ISD, along with other CDC guidelines, you know, to keep our students and also our staff safe. So we'll definitely be providing breaks as well from using masks, of course, for our students while they're working quietly and independently as well.
Dr. De La Torre?
Well, we understand that there's a great deal of reluctance and anxiety in our community. The last thing we want to do as a school system is be cavalier, too aggressive, too ambitious. But we also understand that a great deal of learning loss has occurred over the last 4.5, 5 months. And in our case, if we would have started school when we traditionally start school on August 24th, it would have been nearly 6 months before students were exposed to a formal learning environment and instructional framework. So we're anxious to get our students back in the classroom. As Dr. Espinoza mentioned, I think all of the school districts, neighboring school districts, have made a huge investment in all of the personal protection equipment required to keep the environment as safe as possible. And I'd like to believe that in some cases, our school buildings may be the safest place for those children. And we'll take all of the required steps to make sure that we keep our faculty and staff safe together. But our plan is to open school August 3rd, and not just digitally or online, but in person. Parents will have the option of either sending their child to school or continuing with a greatly improved, robust, rigorous, and relevant curriculum online.
Mr. Cabrera?
Well, similar to my colleagues, we all work together. We're talking about what's going on, keeping up with all the new state and local level. We started, once we stood up our virtual school in March, by mid-April, we start our reentry committees. We created multiple reentry strands, looking at virtual, synchronous, spacing in our classrooms, safety, doing surveys with our teachers and with parents and kids, and just get as much feedback as we can. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be clunky. It's going to be challenging. Making sure safety is the #1 issue, but also a close second is making sure our kids get instruction. As both superintendents have mentioned, we're concerned about learning loss, really important. So within health guidelines, within what's appropriate, we're going to move forward, and we are prepared to close the school if we need to, if somebody is tested positive. But if we manage the safety guidelines and we're prepared for synchronous and asynchronous instruction, we believe that on August 3rd, we will start. It'll be lumpy. It won't be as smooth as normal school days, but as we manage the health and watch all the testing and what's going on in our community, we believe it'll be successful and safe for our families.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to continue the conversation. You're watching ABC-7 Extra. When we come back, I'll ask the superintendents about high school sports. What will be the requirements for practices and high school games? But before we go to break, ABC-7 Extra asks parents how they feel about students returning to school, possibly in August. You're watching ABC-7 Extra, where news comes first.
Pretty nervous.
Why is that?
Well, I think it's too soon. But I guess it's good for the kids because I think they're ready to get out.
I'm glad that they're going to open up, but I am a little apprehensive because we haven't gotten any word as to how exactly they're going to handle the going back. We don't have any protocols in place yet that we know that we're going to have our kids safe when they go to school. They haven't given us any kind of word of exactly how they're going to keep us safe as employees either. So it's all up in the air right now. It is a little nerve-wracking. I want to get back to work. I love being there, but it's also like, what are you going to do? Why are you keeping us in the dark?
No, I don't feel that we're ready, and I figure that when they come back from winter break is when the COVID's going to start back up again.
At Supreme Laundry and Cleaners, the customer always comes first.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm so fine, thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Sir, here's your order. Thanks for coming to see us.
Thank you. Y'all did a nice job. I appreciate it.
See you again soon.
For over 67 years, Supreme Laundry and Cleaners has been providing great customer service, and the tradition continues.
The sun doesn't take a break from coronavirus, and neither does the ABC-7 Storm Track weather team.
When the borderland heats up, our forecasts help you plan your day and keep your family safe.
On air or online.
The KBIA Weather and Traffic app is ready whenever you are.
With up-to-date traffic information and your latest forecast.
First alerts to let you know when we're going from hot to sizzling.
ABC-7 Storm Track weather, accurate, reliable, and here when you need us most.
ABC-7 Storm Track weather, keeping your family safe.
This is an incredible time we're all living through together.
At ABC-7, we value every contribution you make to the lives of others.
Our pledge to you is to arm you with solid information.
To give you the clearest picture of what's happening.
So you can make smart decisions to keep your family safe.
Facts, not fear. Perspective, not panic.
We are all in this together.
We are so proud to be part of this community with you.
Please keep doing your part, and we'll keep doing ours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is your business suffering while you do your part to stop the spread of COVID-19? ABC-7 is here to help. Sign up for your free Open for Biz page at kvia.com. It's a quick and easy way to let the public know when you're open, what changes you're making, and how you're helping your customers through the crisis. Once you're registered, it's easy to update your listing as your plans change. Just go to the coronavirus section at kvia.com and look for the Open for Biz link.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra. Joining us is Socorro Independent School District Superintendent Dr. Jose Espinosa. With us also is El Paso Independent School District Superintendent Juan Cabrera and Isleta Independent School District Superintendent Dr. Xavier de la Torre. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. I'll start with you this time, Mr. de la Torre, Dr. de la Torre. Face masks. You didn't cover that during the first segment. Will students be wearing face masks, and will there be social distancing?
Face masks are actually part of the comment I made about personal protection equipment. The personal protection equipment goes beyond faculty and staff. It would require students to wear face masks at certain times during the school day. We're working with our health professionals, the county and the state, to determine whether or not the expectation is that they keep the face mask and the face shield on during the entire time, or whether or not that would only be required any time that a child, a student, faculty, staff member breach the 6 feet social distance standard. But yes, the district has purchased PPE, including face masks for all students, faculty, and staff.
Mr. Cabrera, face masks?
Same with us. Yeah, we're going to make that part of our standard protocol. And especially as you see the numbers going up here, we're planning for face masks, and unless something changed dramatically, we see that being part of the system all through the fall.
Dr. Espinosa, you covered this when we first talked during the first segment, so I'm going to move on to sports. What is the plan for sports practices as well as games?
Yes, we are following a lot of the guidelines that the UIL has put in place. Right now, our athletes are doing their conditioning training, for example, but there's some strict rules that our athletic director has placed for the coaches. And the coaches, they understand that if a child or comes down with COVID-19, we are going to shut it down. But one thing that UIL, you asked about games looking forward, that they've done for the first time in a very, very long time is they have allowed for football games, for example, to be videotaped, obviously to limit the amount of people in the stands. So we are having conversations with different organizations, about possibly filming our games so that parents, grandparents, family members would be able to watch their children play football, as an example. So those conversations are taking place. And again, it's to keep our community, our families, our athletes safe. That's our top priority.
Dr. de la Torre?
We have opted to resist allowing the strength training, weight conditioning at the time for the time being. We are going to later this afternoon reevaluate that. One of the things that, of course, we want to make sure is that our student athletes, when they finally get the opportunity to compete, in addition to not being exposed to or vulnerable to the virus, we also don't want them on the field ill-prepared to compete in some of these athletic events that can result in serious injury to students. So we'll meet this afternoon. We'll start talking with our Board of Trustees to determine whether or not it makes sense to allow each of the 7 comprehensive high schools to start their program later next week.
Mr. Cabrera?
Well, we started our training on the 15th, and very proud of the coaches. We spent about 10 days going through training and guidelines, protocols. No guarantee that we won't have a positive test, but we've got the kids outdoors, practicing social distancing. You know, I think that we're going to handle sports much like we handle schools. We're going to do our best to try to start so that kids can get on the courts or on the fields, and of course manage social distancing and then have to do some sort of remediation and closures or partial suspension of practices if we get positive COVID tests. So I don't see a situation where all of that is shut down completely unless we're required to by the health authority. But again, we're going to practice all the health and social distancing guidelines within the rules of operating in that sport.
Okay, gentlemen, let's take another quick break. You're watching ABC-7 Extra. Still ahead, I'll ask the superintendents if they have to hire more teachers if additional classrooms are needed for social distancing. But before we go to break, we go to the streets of El Paso and ask parents how they feel about students returning to school possibly in August.
No, I don't think so.
Why?
Because the virus is still sparing. Yeah, that's why.
Honestly, I don't.
Why?
For the simple fact that how are they going to constantly be cleaning up after the kids, like as far as the desks, the germs, and if the kids have to transition to different classrooms, and then of course on top of that, just in general when they go eat lunch and anything, use the restroom, is somebody going to be sanitizing the handles on stuff and the doors?
No, absolutely not.
Why?
Well, the reason is they don't know, pretty much how to take care of it at the situation right now. Kids are catching it, even just going out and doing their regular practice at the moment.
Shop today at Oscar Leaser's Hyundai of El Paso. At home, in the showroom, at your convenience. And save thousands in interest with 0% APR for 72 months on new Tucsons and Santa Fe's. With no payments for 90 days and 3 years included maintenance. New Tucsons now $3,000 off MSRP. And new Santa Fe's now $4,000 off MSRP. Plus new Elantras are now $189 a month. That's $189. Shop today at Oscar Leaser's Hyundai of El Paso.
My Oscar. He's such a good boy.
Planning your Social Security retirement is something we all think about. It is important you are well informed on all of your options. Your Medicare coverage is imperative for your health. Let Ramos Health Plans guide you through it all. We have licensed agents ready to assist you. Are you new to Medicare, or do you have questions about your coverage? We can do enrollments electronically or over the phone. When you have Medicare, you have options. Let one of our virtual agents help you with your enrollment today. Don't let social distancing stop you from your benefits. Call Ramos Health Plans at 626-6137.
Accurate, reliable news and information matters now more than ever. And the Borderlands trust at ABC-7 has never been higher. From Good Morning El Paso to ABC-7 at noon, ABC-7 at 4, 5, and 6. Late nights, plus weekends, ABC-7 is number 1. Each and every newscast, each and every day. The Borderlands' most watched, most trusted news. ABC-7, where news comes first.
On August 3rd, a young man filled with racial hatred sought to destroy and divide our community.
Instead, we came together in unity and mutual love.
COVID-19, this destructive virus now poses a new threat to our community and its members.
It is time for our community to come together again.
If we make sacrifices now by adopting safe practices, we will defeat this new threat. Once again, we will be a model to the nation.
Together, we are El Paso strong.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra, and returning for this final segment is Dr. Jose Espinosa, Superintendent of Socorro Independent School District. With us also is El Paso Independent School District Superintendent Juan Cabrera and Isleta Independent School District Superintendent Dr. Xavier de la Torre. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Cabrera. Will you be needing more classrooms to make sure that there's sufficient social distancing? And if so, will you be hiring more teachers or teachers' aides?
No, we don't have any plans to hire more teachers, but between the surveys we've made and that some parents will want to try to stay home, and some with synchronous or asynchronous instruction, social distancing, we think some teachers will stay home. We can manage with the staff that we have because we're fairly certain that not every family will send their students back to school. So we can work within those guidelines and keep the same number of staff.
Dr. De La Torre, Mr. Cabrera brought up something very interesting. He doesn't expect all the students will be coming back. Is that the same case for Isleta Independent School District, or are you going to be needing more classrooms and, by virtue of that fact, more teachers to maintain social distancing?
No, that's true. I suspect that there will be a certain percent of our parents who will be uncomfortable and anxious sending their child to school, and I believe that the majority of parents, once we communicate the steps and all the elements surrounding the safety and sanitation and the distance learning and all of the precautions that we'd have in place in August, I think will be less reluctant to send their students to school. So we don't plan on hiring additional teachers. Given what the COVID virus has done to the economy and how that may result in detrimental ramifications to the public school system a year from now, I think all of us have to be very, strategic and purposeful when it comes to our budgets.
Dr. Espinosa, are you expecting the very same thing, that not all your students will be returning and so social distancing may not be an issue?
Yes, we've done surveys just like many school district, but one thing I do want to stress, to our parents in our school district is that, yes, they will have a choice on how they want their child to learn in the upcoming school year. TEA, the Texas Education Agency, are going to be providing guidelines early next week that we must abide by, obviously. However, I'm confident that TEA will provide us with the flexibility so that we can provide our parents with the learning model of their specific course of what they want. We've been working hard to gather the data from our community, from our parents, from our employees on their learning model preference. In our first phase of planning, we went out, we sent out a survey to see how many parents would be interested in a traditional model, how many parents would be interested in a hybrid model, how many parents would be interested in a at-home learning model. And what's interesting is that we found that 49% of our parents in Socorro ISD wanted to continue the at-home learning, and 51%, so it's about half, wanted either the traditional, which they come in, but also the hybrid model, which they also would come in. So we began planning on providing all three of those learning models in our school district to accommodate all of our parents. But we also did an employee survey, and we found that 45% of our employees, they preferred at-home learning, and 55% of the employees preferred either the traditional or the hybrid model. So what that tells us, and I'm sure it's the same thing for many school districts, that many of our specific stakeholders, they're ready for their children to return to school and receive the in-person instruction, while many also are not ready. So our goal in our school districts is to provide our parents with the choice that they feel is right for their children. So now, we're in our second phase of planning, where parents will be getting a parent scheduling survey for each one of their children in their household, in which they're going to select the type of learning model that they want for their child. Again, at home, hybrid, or the traditional model. And once we get that data, we'll start scheduling our students according to their parents' choice. And I want to stress that we will be working hard to accommodate the parents, but also our amazing employees who have those unique circumstances during our return back to school. And I think that constant communication, with our community has always been a key to our success. So we'll continue to provide our community the updates that they need.
Superintendents, there's something that we simply cannot shy away from. We're talking about August 3rd, a day that obviously brings back so many dark memories for many El Pasoans. Any concerns about starting on August 3rd? I'll start with you, Mr. Cabrera.
Well, that's obviously a day that will live in El Paso's history forever. I think that, with the resiliency of this community and the focus on our youth and the importance of making sure we get back to school. I think our community will rally behind the school districts and support us in getting started. We will plan special events for that day and the Day of Remembrance, but we think it's a good day to forge ahead and get our kids back into school.
We have a
or at
few
least
seconds.
Get them back in education, even if they don't come to school.
We have a few seconds, Dr. De La Torre.
Well, I would echo Mr. Cabrera's sentiments. I believe that that's a day that will forever live in people's minds as a result of the tragedy, and it's something that we need to acknowledge, I believe, and honor every year. But it also is a day that brought about El Paso Strong, and the idea that this community, its resilience, its perseverance, its fight, it's just an attitude of refusing to be anything less than the wonderful blue-collar, hardworking, family-oriented, caring community that I've come to call home. I've been here now for 10 years, and it means a lot of things to a lot of people. The fact that the school year is starting for us on August 3rd makes it extra special.
Dr. Espinosa, we have 10 seconds left. You any concerns about August 3rd being the day that you resume classes? Quickly, please.
Yes, no, I echo what the two superintendents said, Dr. De La Torre and Mr. Cabrera. You know, that's a day that we'll also have some things in place to honor the victims and never forgetting that day.
Gentlemen, thank you so very much for taking time to talk to us for a topic that's very important to our community. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Saul Saenz. This has been ABC-7 Extra. Good night y buenas noches.